Hello and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. On today's show, we're going to discuss the St. Louis Griffins pro basketball team with Nate Griffin. Plus, we're going to explore DASA, the Disabled Athlete Sports Association, with Executive Director Kelly Behlmann. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Welcome to the show. Our first guest today is the co-owner and head basketball coach for the St. Louis Griffins. He also serves the community as the mayor of Wellston, Missouri. Nate Griffin, welcome to Inside Sports.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming today. I mean, you're busy with your mayoral duties in Wellston. A community that definitely needs some good things to happen right now. But you've been in the basketball community for a long time, and you were the co-founder and co-owner and head coach of the St. Louis Griffins. And this is the second year the team's been with us. And congratulations on your first year making it to the playoffs.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate it.
So let's talk about the first year. I mean, coming in, you've got the first year, and the team makes it to the playoffs, and you're the owner and the head coach.
Yes, and it was starting out. It was a great season. We made it to the championship in our first year. Lost by a few points, missed a few rebounds, but the experience and allowing our players of St. Louis young men to be able to become professional athlete was a dream come true.
Let's take a step back. You've been involved in basketball in the St. Louis area for a long time.
Yes, sir.
You've coached high school basketball at some pretty notable places. Maybe tell us a little bit about your background in basketball here in St. Louis.
Well, I played at Harris Stowe State College, coached at Harris Stowe, went to City of Wellston and became a head coach there, won a state title at Wellston High School, which is Eskridge High School. Then I ended up going to Normandy High School. At Normandy, we went to districts and lost the district championship, but had multiple winning seasons there. Went to North County Tech High School, coached there for about 4 or 5 seasons, won a district championship, regional, lost a game away from state. North Tech had never won a district championship, so I made history there and put a banner in that school. And so I also coached at McClure High School. So I have had a lot of high school tours around here and being able to coach a lot of young men that's in the St. Louis area.
So I guess after having such great success on the high school level, you're thinking, maybe I can take it to the next level. What inspired you to try to bring semi-pro or pro basketball here to St. Louis?
Well, we know we didn't have professional basketball in St. Louis, but I know St. Louis is a basketball town. We have some of the better basketball players across the country. When you look at Jason Tatum and Brad Beal and Ben McLemore and Pat McCall, all from St. Louis, 2 of those players are from Wellston, and I coach, and they was mentored under me, and they was my young men that I have seen in my community forever. Ben McLemore went to Kansas and ended up going to the NBA. Patrick McCall as well, went to CBC, played baseball for me for 10, 12 years, and he ended up going to the Golden State Warriors, won 3 titles, NBA titles, went to Toronto and won another ring there. And so we have produced professional athletes and good basketball players forever. And so I just wanted to find a way to be able to expose our talent and have these young men as great athletes and great men to be able to expose the talent.
So the TBL is what the league's called.
Yes.
They wanted to keep it simple.
The basketball league.
The basketball league, the TBL. So it was founded in 2018 with only 8 teams.
Yes.
And it's expanded pretty prominently.
Yeah, it's about 60 teams across the country, not including teams in Canada. We play in Canada as well, but it's teams all over the United States. And so we do a good job of staying in the Midwest because we're the Midwest Conference. But when playoffs start, we have to go to New York and Florida and all across the country.
So we were talking earlier, and there's something unique about the St. Louis Griffins. First of all, your name is Griffin.
Yes.
And a Griffin is a pretty cool mascot. It's kind of like, what I'm seeing is like a hawk with a tail with a lower level is like a lion.
Yes.
And that's your last name. How brilliant is that?
Yep. And when we came up with the name, we tried to be creative with the name, and we thought about a few names, and I came up with a few ideas, and my wife came to me and said, well, look, why won't we find an athlete that's a collaborative that we can name? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, well, like 2 dogs. And I said, you mean like the Griffin? And she said, well, what do you mean the Griffin? I said, well, the Griffin is, it's an eagle. And the reason why, and it's a lion, and a lion is the king of the jungle. It protects the jungle. It protects everyone in the jungle. And the eagle is the bird eye, and it's the king of the sky. And it protects the sky and watches over the land. And with those 2 animals, it makes up the griffin, and that's the protector of the land on the land and in the sky. And so it would be ideal for us with all the community work that we're doing in the community and the non-for-profit work, but the basketball world that we have been a part of, and again, my success story in the basketball world of kind of being on top of a lot of these basketball tournaments and championships that we have been a pleasure of winning, but also to be able to produce that to the community of being the leader. And that's what I'm looking at when I look at a Griffin is the lion is the king of the jungle and it leads, and the eagle is a leader in the sky. And so if we putting both of those together is making the logo that allows our young men to follow such a symbolic mascot.
And that is a very impressive logo. Vianney are the Griffins, so it's not the first team ever to be called the Griffins.
Yep. St. Louis College of the Pharmacy as well.
And it's not overloaded either. It's not like everybody's called the Tigers or the Giants or somebody like that. When it started out with 8 teams, now you said it's up to 60. At what point did you have your eye on this? Because when it was expanding, did they come to you, or did you know they were expanding? Was there an opportunity that you saw the right time to pounce?
Actually, I had players that was already involved in the TBL, and they was getting paid, and they would come telling me, like, look, coach, this is a real league. This is a real thing. Just imagine if you did this, you would be successful, you will win, and not only that, you will help young men get to the next level, chase their NBA dreams. You can expose those young men and the talent. And so I reached out to the league, and we talked a few times, and I was excited about bringing the league to St. Louis, but I still wasn't fully confident. My son ended up getting picked up on a team in Oklahoma. Deshaun Munson, who have been a standout athlete in St. Louis for an extremely long time, was playing for the Oklahoma team, and they kind of talked to me and educated me about the TBL, and I started doing research and figure out this would be something that's great for St. Louis and the St. Louis area and the young men that really want to chase their professional dreams.
You've got a great assistant, a partner, I guess, a buddy of yours that helps run things and helps you coach. And he's got a son that's a pretty good basketball player as well.
Yes. I have been fortunate enough to be able to have men and players around me that's great athletes, but they're community servants. And so they take the time out of educating athletes and bringing them apart, and also having their kids to be a part of this Griffin experience.
Now, what can we expect from the 2024 team? I mean, you know, you're on the hot seat now because you had such a great first year, so people are expecting a lot of great things this year. Tell us about the 2024 Griffins and what you expect. The season just starting.
I expect us to be right back in the championship hunt. We have a better team this year than last year. I'm very excited about it, but we have people like Nashawn Rigmaiden and Nathaniel Rigmaiden who have led Harris-Stowe to the Nationals and led Lincoln College, both HBCUs, to the Nationals. We have Martavian Payne, who played for Mizzou and led the nation in scoring, and Courtney Stocker, who went to St. Bonaventure as a Division I basketball player that's going to put us in a position to be successful day in and day out. We're a very hard-working team. Throughout the TBL, we're known for being hard-working, determined basketball players. And that's only in our first year, but the whole league know the St. Louis way, the St. Louis experience, and the way that St. Louis is going to come and compete every single night and leave it all on the floor.
Yeah, and Brandon Rigmaiden, who I was referring to earlier, this seems like a great opportunity for like players, local kids that they may not have got a scholarship, or they may not have qualified, or they may be a good college player, but they may not be going pro. They can stay right here in St. Louis, and it's a unique opportunity here because I believe most of the players are from St. Louis on your team.
Yes. 100% of my players are from St. Louis. 100% of the players have bachelor and master degrees. And so these are educated young men that are fathers and mentors in the community, and they're standing around here and they're giving back in a tremendous way, but they're still chasing their professional dream and their professional career. And so it's a great opportunity for them, but it's a great opportunity for the young men that they're mentoring. We're going in schools and we're all over the place just giving back and talking to young men that maybe wants to be professional athletes one day.
So where do you play your home games?
We play our home games right now at Jennings High School. Our first home game will be tomorrow, Thursday, Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m., but we have our 3-1-4 game, which will be March 16th, 7 p.m. at Jennings High School, and it will be a great experience, a great team from Kokomo, Indiana coming in, and it will be a great game to experience.
Now, the season goes on for a while because this interview will probably air in a week or two. Okay. But the season goes on until what, midsummer?
The season will be until the end of June. So
end of June,
yep,
okay,
the end
perfect.
of June will be playoffs, and when playoffs is kind of kicking off and winding down will be the end of June. So the season lasts from March until probably the first week in July.
Are you looking to add staff or volunteers to your team?
We're always looking for staff. We're looking for help. We're looking for volunteers. We also are kind of like an intern program. What we like to do is give back. We like to have, whether you're a photographer, a videographer, a commentator, we don't care what your avenue is, we expose St. Louis. We want to expose the best of St. Louis. And it's free of charge for you to come in if you have talent and you want to looking for an atmosphere and a culture, and you want to be around a fan base and have fans that you are not usually in front of 1,000 people, 500 to 1,000 people. We use our platform to expose you, and we want to be able to allow you to bring your talents to be exposed at the Griffin game. We want you there to expose your talents. You'll
probably need corporate support if anyone is looking to help support the St. Louis Griffins. Is there a website and anything else for more information?
Yes, you go to stlouisgriffinsbball.com. That's the website, as well as True STL is on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn as well. And so anybody that would like to make a donation, you can reach out to us on those particular platforms because, again, this is our second year. We're very successful on and off the court, but we always need as much support as possible to be able to make this happen, because our dream is to be able to get inside the Enterprise Stadium or one of those stadiums to be able to really market our platform, because these young men are tremendous. They're really NBA basketball players that haven't got an NBA opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor Nate Griffin, for stopping by today on Inside Sports. We really appreciate it. We'll be out to see you, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We appreciate it. And even just advertising and marketing us is tremendous. As you see, we have St. Louis across our chest, the arches on our back of our uniform. So we all St. Louis, St. Louis, and we're here to be behind St. Louis.
So I'll check out the Griffins. We're going to take a quick break now, and when we return, the executive director of the Disabled Athletic Sports Association will join us on Inside Sports. Stay with us.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
And welcome back. Joining us now is the founder and executive director of DASA. At this time, we welcome Kelly Behlmann to Inside Sports. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
You know, what a great organization, the Disabled Athletes Sports Association. How long has this been around?
We are a very small but mighty 27-year-old organization.
27 years.
Yes.
Small, I wouldn't say small, but I would say mighty. What was your inspiration in starting this? Because starting in 1997 and to today, I mean, this is an amazing organization that really, really serves so many people in need.
Well, I'm a physical therapist, and I was working in the healthcare world with brand new spinal cord injuries or individuals with disabilities at a very young age, and we were always trying to fix these people. And I knew that this was going to be their new normal, and maybe they didn't need to be fixed. We just needed to celebrate the abilities that they had and help them, empower them to be the best they could be with their new abilities.
Now let's take a step back and talk about what your program offers, because basically in a nutshell, I would think disabled athletes, people that have just disabilities and things that maybe 30, 40 years ago and all before that weren't able to compete. They had a hard time exercising. They didn't have sports. When Billy would go out for football, and maybe Johnny had an injury or, had a disability, he couldn't play. But now, I wouldn't say leveling the playing field, but allowing opportunities for more people to get involved that never had that opportunity before.
So there is kind of a leveling of playing field now. Our athletes through DASA have a physical disability. So we're a little bit different than organizations you might be familiar with, like Special Olympics. Our athletes are spinal cord injuries, they're amputees, they're individuals with visual impairment. Little people are considered people with a physical disability because there might be a difference in the ability of participating in the sport, but the sport is the same sport. So when we play hockey, we play sled hockey. So we sit in sleds, but it's the same game. Like you're icing called and you check each other against the board. It's the exact same game. So the playing field is the same field. We just play it differently with adaptive piece of equipment, not adaptions in the rules or policies or any of that.
So it seems like some people could be born with disabilities at birth.
Yes.
And some people could be an Iraqi veteran who was an athlete and then maybe lost a limb or something,
Yes.
and then now they could participate. So it's kind of cool that it's opened up to people born with disabilities and then other people that may have suffered things throughout their life.
Through a traumatic injury, yes. And maybe they weren't athletes even before their injury, but now again, introducing them to a new normal, giving them a purpose post-injury is what we can do through sport.
So many years, like I just said earlier, people were on the sidelines with disabilities. Now they can play these games. What does it do for their mental and physical state and attitudes once they kind of get involved with the program a little bit? And after the first couple of weeks, at first, you're kind of new at it and it's frustrating. But after a while, when you get strides, what does it do for them in their mojo?
Well, obviously, like any of us, being successful in a sport really makes you feel good emotionally. Being successful in a sport or just being in a sport helps us with our social skills and team building. And then strength-wise, it helps build your strength and your endurance and things that typically these individuals might have to do as a medical, as a patient in physical therapy or in rehab. Now they can do it through sport like every other typical individual does. So it does make it normalizes things for you, like you're not a patient anymore, now you're an athlete. And I think that's what comes no matter what age you're introduced to a sport at any ability, any level. It just makes you feel typical.
Do you think it gives them a sense of independence as well?
Oh, absolutely, yes. There's that, it builds their confidence, it builds their self-advocacy, and therefore that sense of independence. Our athletes do better in school because of being in sports. Our athletes are getting college scholarships. We've had 2 just recently that have gotten a full ride for athletics to University of Arizona, and they have a disability. So they're doing disability sport and being able to get a full ride to a college.
Now you mentioned hockey, playing hockey. What other sports are offered?
You name it, we have it. So we just finished wheelchair rugby this past weekend. We have bocce ball, we have power wheelchair soccer, wheelchair basketball, adaptive tennis, rock climbing, swimming, swim team, track and field, air rifle, archery, and para-triathlon and para-powerlifting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you've got a lot of big events coming up. In May, you've got 3 events coming up. And I think one of the most important ones we want to discuss today would be the Gateway Games.
Yes, the Gateway Games presented by the Hartford. This year, we're very happy to have been partnered with the Hartford and awarded the Hartford Series. So these games are across the country, and they have recognized our games as a regional event to help these athletes qualify for the national championships. And we'll have athletes that come in from across the country to participate here in St. Louis. It's a 3-day event, and we participate in air rifle, archery, track and field swimming, para-triathlon, and para-powerlifting. It takes a lot of volunteers' assistance, so we're open to that if anybody wants to come out and help with any of our sports. And it's a wonderful thing to come watch, to see the ability levels of these athletes. One of my favorites is the toddler games that happens on Sunday during our track meet. We actually at DASA have a Wiggles and Giggles program. So we introduce sport to children as early as 2 years old. And at that time, we're really telling their parents, your child has an ability. Your child is not going to be a patient the rest of their life. They have an ability. They can be that athlete you always wanted them to be. And during the Gateway Games, on that Sunday, there is a toddler games. And they'll be throwing a small little beanbag for shot put and a little javelin, and then they run a 20-meter race. And it is really exciting to see the growth. We started the toddler games 3 years ago with 5 athletes. This year we might have 3 heats of showing that transition, our toddlers to our littles, and by next year they'll be old enough to compete at the regional level.
Perfect. What we're going to do right now is we're going to send it over some video of some testimonials of some of the athletes. Let's take a look.
DASA is amazing. The community and the DASA family is such an important part of my life. I feel so welcomed. Everyone is so loved. When you're part of DASA, you know that you've got a community that has your back. DASA came out and did a power soccer demo, and they put me in one of the chairs, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I have ever done in my life. It's just a really high energy, high intensity, fast-paced sport that just really allows individuals who are power chair users to have that team experience that maybe they didn't think they would ever have. DASA offers something no matter your age, your disability type, or your ability level, and that's the most amazing thing about DASA, because everyone is welcome and everyone can participate in adaptive sports.
You know, and just looking at their faces and their attitudes, and it seems like they're exuding confidence, you know, after they get involved with the program, because we talked about the independence and things. It's just so much better for your well-being to get out and active, and physically too, because you're not just sitting there, your blood's moving, and
right.
all that great things are happening.
Yeah, it's being involved in a sport. It's being involved in what our brothers and sisters and neighbors are doing. It's being typical. It's being that kid on the block that gets to go to soccer practice on Saturday night.
So if someone wants to get involved with that, is there a website to get involved with the games? If someone wants to participate, can you send us?
Yeah, I would send, anybody who wants information can go to our website. It's dasasports.org. And from there, you can search all of our upcoming events. Our Gateway Games, we have a bocce event, a bocce competition, which I know is a big sport here in St. Louis. That's in April. Over the summertime, we have what we call bikes and boats, and we go out to Creve Coeur Park with all of our adaptive bikes and kayaks and allow our individuals to participate in just a kind of a free fitness opportunity. We have summer camp. You can find all of that on our website.
Perfect. I do want to talk about Camp We Can Do. This looks like an amazing amount of activities, including hand cycling, kayaking, and much more. Let's discuss that.
Yeah, let's talk about water skiing and chocolate syrup slides and climbing out on rooftops.
Chocolate syrups.
So Camp We Can Do is a life-changing event. That's how our campers recognize it. That's how our counselors recognize it. We do all week long, we're out at Babbler State Park, and we do adventures. These children are allowed to be children. They're allowed to kind of flexible with the rules and things that they can't do in the real world. They come to camp and they get to be kids, and one of them is our chocolate syrup slide. So we slide down a big messy hill and we squirt chocolate syrup on everybody. And it's the most wonderful vision to look up the hill and you see empty wheelchairs and walkers and prosthetic legs, and the kids are just rolling and messy, and just some go home in Band-Aids, and that's fantastic because that's demonstrating that they're just a kid.
They're
and
just
it's
like
okay.
any other kid, right?
Yes, it's amazing.
Now, I probably have some disabilities, you know, so
We all have different abilities.
Can I get involved on the syrup slide?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And on that, we always say we all have different abilities. If you think about all of us, even in this room, we're all very different with our abilities. So we try to educate everybody about that you just do the best you can with your abilities.
Now, this is a huge event, and you're mentioning all these sports and all these athletes. How many athletes have you served since the induction back in 1997?
97, yes. We average about 370 individuals a year that we reach from the St. Louis area, but we're the only para-adaptive sport club in the surrounding state. Like the next club similar to ours is in Chicago. So we have athletes that come in from all over, and they might participate, just come to summer camp. Like we have one from Texas, one from Memphis that come in for Camp Weekend do. And then we have some that do 3 or 4 of our sports at the same time. So the percentage of individuals with physical disabilities is much smaller than the percentage of individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. So our numbers seem smaller than some of those other organizations, but we are definitely reaching anybody in town that wants to be have the opportunity to participate.
That's what I was thinking. Are you looking for volunteers, or is this more of a skilled situation where you would recruit people that are maybe more qualified in the field, and then volunteers can help do certain things as well, and then you've got the corporate sponsors too?
Right, yeah. So for events like our bocce tournament, our upcoming Gateway Games, we are certainly seeking volunteers. It's a great way to get your family involved and come out and see the abilities, right? For programs like our Camp Weekend do, we do specifically kind of reach out to those that are interested in working with children or in the medical world, because it's a learning environment for them also. So it's a great win-win for our campers and our counselors to be involved at Camp Weekend do. And we're always welcome to for any kind of corporate sponsorship. We work with a very small paid staff and many, many, many volunteers, and even our staff, we volunteer also in the evenings. So we try to keep the numbers really low so it all goes back to our individuals. So we very much welcome sponsorship for all of our events, and you can find that on our website also.
Perfect. Any final thoughts before we let you go? Do you do the website once again?
Yes, DASA Sports, DASA Sports.org.
DASA, not DASA.
DASA.
DASA. All right, Kelly, thank you very much. We really appreciate coming in today.
It's been great.
Congratulations on your great success and continued.
All right, thank you.
All right. Well, that's our show for today. We'd especially like to thank our studio guests, Mayor Nate Griffin and Kelly Behlmann, for joining us in studio. We'd like to thank you for watching Inside Sports on STL TV. Experience St. Louis.